Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, we take a look at the conclave as cardinals will begin voting to elect the 267th leader of the Roman Catholic Church today. India launches missiles into Pakistan, escalating tensions between the two rivals. Britain's King Charles and Queen Camilla unveil their new official portraits. And a look at the new upcoming live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. Thanks for joining us. All eyes on the Sistine Chapel in Vatican City as the critical conclave begins today. 133 cardinals from all over the world will take part in the secretive voting process to elect a new pope. Entrances to the Apostolic Palace have been sealed ahead of the election. This aims to ensure security, and isolation for the cardinal electors. The election could be most unpredictable in the Church's history. Multiple votes are often held before a contender with the necessary two-thirds majority to become pope.
During the conclave, they will stay together at two Vatican guest houses behind the Vatican walls. They'll be sequestered from the outside world, and they'll have meals with each other. They'll pray with each other. They'll see each other in the halls. And it's in those private moments, perhaps at a coffee break or having a meal, when they might talk about what they're hearing and who they think might be the next pope. And that's when a consensus might emerge on who will be the leader of the Catholic Church. There's a small chimney above the Sistine Chapel, which is visible from St. Peter's Square. People watching can see whether the chimney emits black or white smoke. Black smoke indicates that they haven't decided who could be pope. White smoke indicates that a pope has been chosen, and shortly we can expect him to come out onto the central balcony of St. Peter's Square or St. Peter's Basilica and introduce himself to the world.
Cardinals gathered yesterday for the last congregation ahead of the conclave. Since Pope Francis died on April 21st, they have been meeting on a near daily basis to discuss the future of the Catholic Church. The congregations also provided lesser-known cardinals with the opportunity to rise to the fore and become a papal contender. The race to succeed Francis is seen as wide open, though a few names have been cited as frontrunners. They include Filipino Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle, but cardinals have been tight-lipped, entering and leaving their pre-conclave meetings.
So, please. We don't speak candidates.
Yeah, no. What's the idea?
How's the feeling? The feeling. We are happy. We are happy.
How do you conclave?
I really. It all depends.
2 days? More?
I wouldn't know.
Catholics in Latin America hope for a new pope who will follow the footsteps of Pope Francis. The late Argentinian pontiff left behind a legacy marked by bold reforms, vocal support for the poor and marginalized, and frequent clashes with traditionalists. He also advocated for world peace and has criticized Israel's military campaign in Gaza.
Olha, se for parecido, pelo menos parecido.
Look, if he could be similar to Pope Francis, he'll be great because he was a really good person, a truly human being. And I think that's what we need nowadays in this hate-infested world we live in.
It's an expectation of the church, and we believe the whole world. Everyone is hoping for a pope chosen by God. They follow him from Pope Francis. He was evangelical, did very well what he had to do, please everyone. So that's my expectation, that the new pope will be a great addition to our church.
There has been talk for many days now on who will be the next pope, but a priest is reminding us that the papal conclave is not the same as election. Father Aris Susan, earlier on Billionaire News Channel, It's a Beautiful Day, said cardinals are strictly prohibited from campaigning.
Unlike our local elections, there will be no campaigning. The, the cardinal electors, the 132 cardinal electors, are also themselves candidates. Imagine how difficult it will be if there are 132 candidates. And it is absolutely forbidden that they campaign. It's under pain of canonical punishment. Um, he who breaks that will be subject to automatic excommunication.
Father Aris also recounts from previous conclaves he witnessed that frontrunners don't necessarily become the elected pope.
I have followed several conclaves already. I have been a priest for 37 years. And, the Papabilis never make it. We have a saying that those who enter the conclave a pope come out a cardinal. And I learned my lesson from the 2013 conclave. Cardinal Bergoglio was not in our list.
A special mass was held at a church in Quezon City to show support for the conclave and express thanks to the late Pope Francis. Andrea Salve joins us live from there for this story. Andrea, go ahead.
High parishioners of Our Lady of Perpetual Help flocked to a humble chapel in northern Quezon City today, holding a special mass and offering prayers as the 133 cardinals are set to begin the election of a new pope. Before the service dubbed as the Mass of the Poor at Ina ng Laging Saklolo Chapel, members of the parish, together with Fathers Robert Reyes and Patrick Santines, marched along National Avenue this morning. They carried with them an image of Saint Francis of Assisi, a portrait of the late Pope Francis, and even a life-size standee, symbols of the values they hope the next pontiff will uphold. Father Reyes explained that celebrating Mass in the presence of the Saint Francis and Mother Teresa was deeply symbolic as both are champions of the poor and the marginalized. In his homily, Father Santinas emphasized that while the Mass expresses support for the papal conclave, it is also a gesture of gratitude to the Pope who devoted his life to the service of the underprivileged. Parishioners offered thanks for his pro-poor stance and inclusive leadership, qualities they pray will be reflected in the next Supreme Pontiff. My parishioners had already left the chapel right after the short parade, while these images, on the other hand, will be brought back to the main parish. Mai.
Thank you, Andrea Salve, reporting to us live from Quezon City. The Comelec deals with more challenges, including a fire-ridden polling center in Abra. But the poll body assures the public voting will proceed on May 12. Our Joan Manalo joins us live from the Comelec headquarters in Manila for the details. Joan, what can you tell us?
Testing and automated from this morning.
We will fix that connection with Joan Manalo. Please stay tuned for her report from the Comelec headquarters in Manila. Senatorial bet and former Interior Secretary Ben-Hur Abalos confident in his chances in next week's polls. That's despite results from pre-election surveys showing him just outside the projected winning circle. On Billionaire News channels at the forefront, Abalos also said he has no regrets about staking his executive position to run.
Well, I came from number 35. So I crawled my way to the position. And now, statistically, I'm within the magic 12. medyo marami lang nga kami. So this is the last final push, but the trajectory is very, very good.
Tensions escalating between rivals India and Pakistan. This after India launched missiles into 9 Pakistani sites that it claims are terrorist infrastructure. At least 8 deaths were reported. Pakistan calls the assault a blatant act of war. It says it has also hit 3 Indian sites in response. The fighting comes after Islamist assailants killed 26 Hindu tourists in Indian Kashmir last month. India and Pakistan control parts of Kashmir, but both claim it in full and have fought 3 wars over the territory. U.S. President Donald Trump holds his first meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. Overall, the talks in the Oval Office were cordial, but Trump admits there are issues dividing the two countries, including his tariffs and his belief that Canada should become the 51st U.S. state, an idea quickly rejected by Carney.
Well, I still believe that, but you know, takes 2 to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, you know, as a real estate developer, you know, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, you know, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
Still in the U.S., as President Trump can now implement his ban on transgender people serving in the military. The ban had been blocked nationwide by lower courts, but Supreme Court justices granted an emergency request from the White House to lift the injunctions while the legal challenges play out. Over 4,000 transgender people currently serve in the military, according to Defense Department data. The decision will allow the armed forces to discharge current transgender personnel and reject new transgender recruits.
Well, I think the reality is that today's decision is devastating. It really means the entrenchment of discrimination in one of our more cherished institutions in our country. It means the separation from the military of thousands of patriotic service members like our plaintiffs who have dedicated their careers to fighting for our freedoms and who are being told that they can no longer serve their country simply because of who they are. This is not the final word in this case by any means, but it means that their careers are on pause while this case moves forward, and it means that our country is going to suffer as a result.
In royal news, Britain's King Charles and Queen Camilla unveil their new official portraits. This comes on the second anniversary of their coronation day. The paintings are displayed at the National Gallery in London and will be moved to Buckingham Palace in June. The painters shared their process in making the portraits.
Once I saw the throne room at St James's, and I thought, well, if I can get sunlight in here, you know, it'd be absolutely stunning with all the rich colours. So we prayed for sun, and eventually we got it on one day.
Well, my work's already done over the last year, over a year. In fact, the whole process took about 2 years. And I did what I could in that time, and I did probably more than I've been able to do in many other big commissions. just because I was given the space, the time, and Clarence House was where I was allowed to paint. So, and that's very quiet there. And often when King and Queen aren't there, I'm just allowed to use it whenever I wanted. So, yeah, it was wonderful.
We're taking a break. Still to come, Filipino tennis star Alex Ayala returning to court today for the Italian Open. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns.
Get to the latest stories.
The Philippines bags a historic bronze at the 2025 Asia-Pacific Women's Lacrosse Championship.
The updates.
Table tennis power duo siblings brought home medals from the WTT Youth Contender.
The scores and what to celebrate in the world of sports.
I'm Anton Rojas.
And I'm Erica Christensen.
On the scorecard.
Where sports is our business.
And business is our sport.
Only here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
Opinyon ay hindi lang malalim, pero may kasama pong pasabog. Ako po si Jordan Davino.
Hindi lang tayo basta chika, kundi chika with a cause. Ako si Sama Costa, kontesera ng buhay at balita.
Ihahain natin ang politika na may lalim at linaw para sa mas matalinong pagdedesisyon ng bawat Pilipino. Ako si Ronald Llamas, ang inyong political heckler.
Atid namin ang matapang pero patas na pagsusuri sa mga isyong humuhubog sa kinabukasan ng ating bansa. Ako si Marichu Villanueva, may talas sa mata at panulat.
Samahan nyo kami dito tuwing linggo, alas 10:30 ng umaga.
Dito sa
Politiko Talk!
Good morning, everyone!
Let's begin your morning with these people that gives you the hottest information.
I'm Pablo de Rosario. Let's get you up to speed with some news that you could use right now.
Rise and shine, beautiful people. I'm Ann Esses Carillo. And I'm Monique Tuzon. Your mornings are always no fun with us.
With excitement,
It was amazing.
positivity,
Everything is so beautifully made here.
and fun to start your day.
Only here on
It's a beautiful day!
Mikey Oreta. Business 360. 10 a.m. on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
As we reported earlier, a fire damages a polling center in Abra. Joan Manalo joins us on the line for the details. Joan, go ahead.
A fire broke out earlier today at Dandangla Voting Center in Banguet, Abra, prompting the Commission on Elections to halt the final testing and sealing of automated counting machines in the area. In a kapihan sa Manila Bay Forum this morning, COMELEC Chairman George Erwin Garcia confirmed that around 70% of the voting center was destroyed. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. Banguet Abra has a total of 35,227 registered voters, with 24 schools serving as voting centers and 49 clustered precincts. With this, Garcia emphasized the importance of the affected voting center, noting that it is the only polling precinct in the barangay. Because of this, the COMELEC is prepared to set up makeshift classrooms if necessary to ensure that voting can still proceed. But he adds that only one automated counting machine was affected and that 2 classrooms will be more than enough to accommodate the voters from the said precinct. Meanwhile, Garcia also gave an update on the 3 individuals recently arrested in Santa Cruz, Laguna for impersonating Comelec officials. The suspects are now facing charges of usurpation of authority and falsification of public documents. According to Comelec, the individuals faked Comelec IDs and stickers and were caught attempting to conduct testing of automated counting machines in the area. With this, Garcia issued a stern warning to anyone planning to carry out similar schemes. They will face criminal charges to the full extent of the law. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Joan Manalo, reporting from the Comelec in Manila. In sports, Filipino tennis star Alex Ayala is ready for action today at the Italian Open. The newly minted women's world number 70 will face Ukraine's Marta Kostyuk in the opening round. The match is expected at 11 p.m. Philippine time. Ayala is part of the stacked quarter in the tournament, which includes women's world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka. A win against Kostyuk could lead Ayala to facing Filipino-Canadian star Leila Fernandez in the round of 16. This is part of Ayala's build-up for her Grand Slam main draw debut at the French Open later this month. Says the administrator Katrina Pon Enrile on party mode as she celebrates her 65th birthday. Among her many attendees, a controversial former chief of staff of her father, Juan Ponce Enrile. Hanati reports.
When the daughter of a political titan turned 65, she celebrates in style, not once but twice. Says the administrator Katrina Ponce Enrile marked her birthday with 2 separate celebrations. One at Ceviceria, a posh Kabalan group spot in BGC, and another at the private home of longtime friend Rico Ocampo. The BGC gathering was filled with culinary delight as Katrina's circle got together, with her longtime friend Robert Castañeda playing host. It also saw the return of a familiar face, Gigi Reyes, the ever-loyal former chief of staff to Katrina's father, Juan Ponce Enrile, making a rare public appearance since her release from detention for nearly 9 years over the PDAF case. Gigi's relationship with Katrina's father was dragged into the spotlight after being accused of conspiring with the former senator to divert pork barrel funds to fake NGOs in exchange for kickbacks. She was seated beside Katrina as friends serenaded the Cesar chief with a happy birthday. They also danced to Earth, Wind and Fire's September in a night filled with nostalgia and Spanish dishes. While another intimate dinner at Ocampo's residence brought together society staples, Tessa Prieto, designer Randy Ortiz, Michelle Tianco, and other close friends of Katrina. A lawyer, entrepreneur, and government official, Katrina has been Cesar chief since 2023, continuing the Enrile legacy in public service. Hannah T, Billionario News Channel.
And before we go, a new trailer for the upcoming live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon has been released, and it shows more of Toothless and Hiccup's journey. Let's watch this. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Billionario News Channel. Good afternoon.